Hi, I've moved over to my iPhone. The other one just died on me and I lost 10 minutes worth of content. But I don't know. I hope to gauge my bearings from there where I left off. I am utterly disquieted, by the quality of the iPhone, strangely, in comparison to the Android. I used to prefer iPhone, but not anymore. But yeah, whatever. It's okay because it has like this glare that I can't quite eradicate that the other phone did not have, but will deal. In the last part that I had, please go check out the previous part. I was talking about something that I'm gonna try as best as possible to bring forward again, despite having lost it. I was speaking about how it is that the Lord pretty much warned me that one of the greatest reasons, essentially, I'm trying to find all of those words that I spoke. One of the greatest reasons, goodness, I hate this delay, but it's better that way, right? And one of the greatest reasons that He's not allowing me to basically rely on a salary coming through on YouTube using a truth channel, using a ministry, like the monetization of a gospel ministry on YouTube, is because of the future of censoring that is coming to the church. He doesn't want me to rely on it because I will have already gone through so much sorrow in my life from poverty. Do you understand? And with all of that poverty, I will have, of course, like a great fear of falling into it again. And He has no desire that once I escape the darkness, I should find myself in it again. You know, and that content creators, Christians on YouTube that have monetized their ministries on YouTube are facing a future of that loss, severance of money for like basically monthly expenses like children's fees and groceries and mortgage loans, whatever it is that a person needs to get through the day. They're facing not being able to continue paying those because YouTube suddenly deplatformed them. YouTube suddenly took away their channels altogether for daring saying something taboo. I was speaking about how it is that currently, for instance, the most banned or deplatformed content on the media at present is medical stuff. Like if you say anything about COVID that YouTube does not favor, they might strike you or even deplatform you based on that. However, other topics, generally they leave you alone. Like the LGBTQIA ridiculous agenda going on across the world right now. YouTube seems to be letting Christians speak without being deplatformed, demonetized and whatnot on it. Their like freedoms of religion and whatnot seem to be just kind of left alone in that space. Their opinions in that regard are being left alone. But the day is gonna arrive when anything that goes against, especially the far left agenda, is just going to be smothered, silenced. Basically the forcing of believers to keep their messages light and sweet. If you want to do Christian content, we're not going to block you, but just sing a hymn or something. If you want to do Christian content, we're not going to block you, but just talk ubiquitously about how Jesus loves you, but don't make it clear that Jesus is not happy with homosexuality too. Like, yeah, essentially creation out of believers online that usually have got very hard messages, teachers that scratch itching ears, like a sweet little loving Joel Ostinic message is what they're going to expect very sound preachers online to suddenly start rolling with. Calling out harsh like sins, calling a spade is just going to become something that is going to become increasingly difficult to maintain your presence on YouTube. And God made it clear to me that Karabo, right now you don't have a YouTube channel that makes sense because you're currently shadow banned there, and you also cannot start a platform on Rumble. You don't have money to finance such things, or Gab, or go on Patreon or whatever, like some space where you're not going to be like blocked. You don't have money to go independent, so you don't want to rely on a salary coming through on YouTube. Next thing you're paying a rent, next thing you are able to get everything you need, buy your equipment, and then you gotta move back to your mother's house again at the back of a shack again. You don't want that. So God basically gave me an idea to start a neutral channel on YouTube that is not going to in the future face demonetization, that is not going to in the future face deplatforming or anything of that nature. Neutral channel. Like, I can't stand the quality of my iPhone. I keep on shuffling around to try and get it better looking, but whatever, we'll just keep on talking. Neutral channels, by neutral channels I mean channels, for instance, like cooking or fitness or travel, like stuff that is highly unlikely going to offend people. It's not controversial in nature, and it's also highly unlikely going to cause a fall of subscribers or followers from you. Like when you do Christian content, truth content, or even if you're a conspiracy theorist, a person might like what you say in one video, but then because they subscribe to some other agenda that you are against, tomorrow they're gonna like, you know, unfollow you or unsubscribe. That's the kind of stuff that can cause you a loss of money, loss of followers, loss of subscribers, loss of whatnot. But if you're cooking, you're just cooking. If you're baking, you're just baking. A person is highly unlikely going to start unfollowing you because you went from doing pastries to now cooking like culinary stuff. You're now making like a chicken stew sandwich as opposed to baking like a cheesecake type thing. A person is highly unlikely, based on your change of topic or change of thing that you're doing, then gonna suddenly start unfollowing you. They will likely continue to like you. The same thing is true also with fitness. If you are doing for fitness like jiu-jitsu, and tomorrow you decide to do capoeira, and then the next day you decide to just do like deadlifts at the gym, the person who follows you from capoeira is not going to, now that you're doing jiu-jitsu, be like, I thought this chick was only doing capoeira, unless of course they were only looking for a capoeirista channel type establishment thing. So the Lord was like, do something that is neutral, that's not going to break your heart based on a loss of subscribers all of a sudden because you spoke one controversial message. And secondly, do a neutral channel that is based on your skills and your talents, that does not dishonor me, that is going to not get you losing subscribers, and that's also not going to be like YouTube's algorithm sensitive and like controversy sensitive, because that is how you're going to maintain your lifestyle. That is the channel that is not going to get demonetized. That when you get deplatformed in your Christian ministry, when you get deplatformed in that controversial space, you will still be able to pay your rent, you will still be able to pay your car, because your, what do you call this, your fitness channel is still running. For me, that's fitness. So God has basically been telling me that believers are facing a future, a sorrowful one at that, of just all of a sudden overnight losing money they need to push their lives, because they literally leaned on the lucrativeness of their YouTube ministries to finance their lives with their children and their wives and their whatever it is that they do in their private capacity, and the quality of their lives is going to suddenly just be cut because of a deplatforming or a demonetization. And so the wickedness of this nefarious strange woman at YouTube that is busy like shadow banning my content is Romans 8:28 in my particular life, in that all things are working out together for the good of them who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. God, with that situation, is also telling me it wasn't going to be for very long anyway. You are going to monetize, and very soon afterwards you are going to be deplatformed. Very soon afterwards, you are going to be demonetized. Very soon afterwards, you are going to just be smothered. Very soon afterwards, they were going to try and control what you say, and they were going to try and get your message to be fluffy. And you are controversial, my daughter. I've given you taboo prophecies. I've given you taboo information. I've told the world through you that there is wickedness on the ground and must be uprooted. The kind of like disciple that you are, the ministry that I have set you apart in, is controversial. It will be. You're gonna be like Micaiah. You're gonna get a whole bunch of King Ahabs putting you away, feeding you meager portions of bread and water, because you dared prophesy that a king is gonna die tomorrow. So you, for the life of you, cannot monetize a YouTube channel. At most, the heartbreak will be in the fact that you've built for yourself a subscriber count of 100,000 people and you lost them overnight. But you're not going to be crying over where you're going to find your next loaf of bread. You're not going to be crying over paying your rent, because that's going to be getting paid by your neutral channel. You've got talents that I've given you that you can neutrally upload on social media, that in the future are not facing censoring, demonetization, and deplatforming. So that is one of the greatest reasons why he has basically raised up this charlatan for YouTube to hurt me in this way, but to also get me to start something else on the side that is neutral. But with it as well, I have discovered that YouTube is targeting me, because YouTube has shadow banned even my fitness channel. Next part.